Okay, this is Pac-Man's the Concord. The Concord isn't even like properly placed. I just realized, like, browse game, there's not really much games about it besides being talked about. It's so good they want to skip 100% focus. Alright, let's check this out.
Well taken, Concord.
Thank you, sir. Most kind.
And again. Over we go. Good, steady. And now, the big one. Oh, come on, Concord.
Message for you, sir.
Concord. Concord, speak to me.
What?
Brave, brave Concord. You shall not have died in vain.
I'm not quite dead, sir.
Well, you shall not have been mortally wounded in vain.
I think I could pull through, sir.
Oh, I see.
Pull through.
Actually, I think I'm all right to come with you,
No,
sir.
no, sweet Concord, stay here.
No, I feel fine, actually.
Is that
Farewell,
wait?
sweet
Is this
Concord.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail? I love the skit.
I'll just stay here then, shall I, sir?
What I remember about the release of Concord is how quiet it was. During the waning hours of the launch week, the Sony executives and I were discreetly transported to the server room. It was a silent trip. We all knew what was about to happen, what we were about to do. Did we have any doubts? Any private traitorous thoughts the game could make a comeback? Perhaps. But we didn't say a word. What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here.
Hello, Act Man.
Today, I think it's fitting we hold a candlelight vigil for Concord. He was the best of us, he was the worst of us. Today we celebrate the life and memory of Concord. All 11 days of it. Sony's
Oh God, is this basically like the year where the games that come out just get completely like off the list? Like, we have it for the day before, right? And then I heard news about the day before being or returning, and the developers saying that they were going to have you trust them. And now we have Concord, which is dead in the water, and then now I'm hearing that it's going to be returning. I don't know how, but hopefully they have new, like, better designs, because from what I've seen for Concord, since I've seen like ads everywhere for Concord, I just did not really find it, it didn't look that great to me. And it didn't look that fun. Well, I mean, since it was an Overwatch clone, I'm not really competitive anymore. Even though I would seem competitive, I'm just not competitive anymore.
latest hero shooter, and one of, if not, actually, I think this is the biggest commercial failure in video game history.
You fucked it up!
If you look at Wikipedia's list of video game commercial failures, the numbers are actually quite impressive when compared to Concord. For example, the Sega 32X sold 665,000 units and was still considered a commercial failure. Dude, the fucking 3DO, the console that costed $700, equivalent to $1,500 in 2023.
What? $1,500. Like, they probably had so much gear in it, like, compared to everything else. Like, it's like a powerhouse, but like it's a powerhouse that's not like suited for families. Like, oh, I'll get you this cool console. Oh, sorry, Timmy, it's $1,500. Well, from today's standard, or $700. So yeah, we'll get you the PS1 then, okay? Would you like that? I'm sorry, but like, I know you want your army men, but yeah, it's fine, okay.
Even this sold 2 million. Even the infamous E.T. the Extraterrestrial on Atari 2600.
Yeah, $700 for PS5. I was just thinking the same thing because I think everybody knows now that like the PS5 is $700.
The game that is largely contributed to have caused the video game crash of 1982 sold 1.5 million copies. This is just to give you context. Concord, on the other hand, brace yourself, has been estimated to have sold only 25,000 units.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
The 3DO, the 32X, ET all sold monumentally better than Concord. And this game had a reported budget of over $100 million.
That's too much.
If you crunch the numbers, it's estimated about 10,000 copies were sold on Steam. Steam takes a 30% cut of all sales. So if you were to crunch these numbers, the revenue they generated on these sales is not even enough to cover 1% of the budget. It's not.
Here's the thing about like budgets and stuff. Like a game like that, it should have so much budget. What were they buying? Like what? Not buying, but like if it took years to develop and with like you have to attribute to like voice actors, of course the the designers of the game itself, like the programmers, artists, like what money is being thrown to where? Like we've been told the budget is $100 million. Where's the most of the budget going to? Is it going to ads, like marketing? Because like if you need to make a game that's $100 million to like make, I think you need to like step back and look at the bigger picture of what is viable and what's not in the current like age. Like probably when you first made or even like started the game, like it was probably at the tail end of or like somewhere near the end of like Overwatch popularity of like, yeah, everyone's trying to copy Overwatch, and Sony kind of was just not in it for long. Like they were too late.
Not even enough to recuperate 1% of that $100 million. This is, I think, the biggest commercial failure in video game history. And with a staggering 8 years of development, Concord launched to an abysmal peak player count of 660 players on Steam.
Oh my goodness!
I would be laughing if it wasn't so sad, but this is a funeral, okay? Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League had a higher player count than Concord. Ladies and gentlemen, to put this in the most extreme context possible, I give you this. I could end the video right here, to be quite honest. What's even worse to consider is that a good chunk of these players were likely journalists or content creators who received early codes, or even some of the developers. So it begs the question, how does such a huge game that Sony has invested so much money, time, and effort into, how does it collapse this hard? Today we're going to answer that question. Why has Concord failed so spectacularly?
Yes.
Because just 2 weeks after launch, Sony has announced that they are pulling it from stores, refunding anyone who bought it, and shutting the servers down on September 6th, which is probably about the time this video is going to go live. They're giving it the full day before treatment. Not even Redfall was shut down this quickly, and that's so strange because Redfall was a total glitch fest. It was barely even a functioning video game, and yet Concord worked. It wasn't a good game, it wasn't unique, but it functioned, and that's you.
Yeah,
Usually like
Concord, from what I've heard, it was just boring. It wasn't buggy or anything. Not buggy with the other two games he listed. So, like, what's the deal? I'm pretty sure the designs, if I have to say, are the issue.
The bar where these kinds of games land is like they just don't fucking work and they're terrible. But Concord worked. That's what's interesting about it. In many ways, this situation is worse than the day before, because that game was just a blatant scam, and this was like a genuine, real attempt to create a new first-party IP for the Sony brand. We are actually witnessing a historic moment, like something that might never happen on this level in the video game industry for a long time. While the video game crash in 1983 resulted in like $3 billion of revenue lost in the industry as a whole, as a singular product, I think Concord takes the cake. This is $100 million straight down the fucking toilet. The game director for Firewalk Studios, the developers, posted this update. An important update on Concord. Concord fans, we've been listening to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey abroad the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. I think one of the saddest things a person can witness is a situation where all hope is clearly lost. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, and yet there is still an element of positivity to it. Man, that fucking sucks for the developers. Like, you can sit here and say, yeah, it's their fucking fault for making this game nobody wanted and nobody cared to buy, but there are genuinely talented developers, you know, people on the ground floor who don't make the creative decisions, who probably put their heart and soul into this job and into this game, and it's just a total dud.
Yeah, like there's like people who go into like game designs and all that, like it's not even their own passion. It's like the passion of making something and then putting it out there. What they want is like people to, you know, hear what like they want like their stuff to like work in, and just having people hate on it, it's like it breaks my heart. And people who like not only hate it but like hate on the developers because they made a bad product, and they will never able to redeem themselves, or at least they won't ever show their name out there because it's like a stain, especially with like the head developers. They're not able to show their faces because like, oh, you made this though. It's like, what if it's out of their hands? Like what if it's like, you know, the main company doing it? Like there'll be like a back and forth, like, oh no, the company is lying, or no, this guy is lying. It's like you don't even know. Like it could just be like we're being, it's in the face value. Like there was a game that came out on PS3, I believe. Road to Hell Retribution. I forgot what it is, but it's it was supposed to be an open world turned to like just a mission base with oh, I'm trying to think mission based and with a hub, and you like buy weapons, upgrade your bike, and it was supposed to be like, it was supposed to be something else, but it wasn't. And from what I've heard, the developers actually really like what they made, even though it's being hated on and it's glitchy and stuff. Like they are proud of what they made. I'm guessing it's because not a lot of people make stuff and finish it, and they finished something, and it just goes to show you that you made something. And the people who started something and never ended up finishing it, like it just goes to show you that, like, oh, but I made a product. I made something that came out straight out of my head and onto something that people can enjoy, or at least try to enjoy with their own way of thing. What about you? Did you finish anything? No. What about that thing you started like a year ago? Are you done? It's supposed to be short. It's like, no. It's like, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Or at least do something with it.
And the forced positivity of it, it's just, something about that just is so sad to me. But, I mean, we're still gonna make fun of it. While many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we intended.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
Yeah, the fucking foundation disintegrated. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. Yada, yada, yada. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord galaxy. All 2,000 of them. That's rough, buddy. I suppose credit where credit is due. They're not taking the small amount of money and running. They would probably face a lawsuit, you know. Although the developers could try to resuscitate the game with post-launch support, I can at least respect knowing when to call it quits. But I am once again asking you to listen, game publishers, to what I said in this video. There should not be so many failures in the game industry that I can keep referencing this video as an example of prophecy. Why was it necessary to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into this new release? It's like you're just hoping that every live service game you make is going to be the one to make $1 billion, and none of them are. Try developing new IPs on a smaller scale, built by fewer people, with a more cohesive creative vision that takes less risks, and if it does well, work your way up. That's how it fucking used to be. The Warcraft series started as a pretty fucking jank RTS, but it grew from that. These publishers are placing gargantuan expectations upon brand new game studios and just expecting them to make like billions of dollars right out the gate. This is such a monumental blunder that it's really important to take a deep look at why Concord failed and what this means for the game industry as a whole. Now, they say they're going to find ways to re-deliver the game, but I don't know if that's possible. The game is just not interesting to people. It's not visually appealing. The gameplay doesn't look fun or interesting or like anything we haven't seen before. I don't think there's a Fortnite turnaround in the cards here.
From what I've seen in the gameplay, it looks like a fun game. Well, I shouldn't say fun game. Like, it looks like a game. And the gameplay of it looks okay from what I'm seeing. And I'm pretty sure it's like the designs of it. Like who wants to watch someone like play a robot that's basically a trash bin? Or I mean, there's probably a bunch of people, but you get what I'm saying. It's like mainly the designs here.
You know, Fortnite's original mode, it just kind of flew under the radar. Nobody cared too much, but
I
Epic
cared.
had the foresight to say, hey, maybe we can still make something out of this. It wasn't a lost cause. Concord has been the biggest high-profile disaster that most gamers are going to want to stay far away from the blast radius, you know? There isn't any sort of even Fallout 76 type redemption to be had here. It's not a case of No Man's Sky where the game had potential and it hooked people and they were willing to give it another shot with post-launch support.
Oh god, I remember No Man's Sky with their I remember how barren it was. Like, I went to Planet to Planet and never got to the center because I was like trying to grind for materials to get to the center. It just took so long and just like, you know what, I'm done. And I think I streamed it when it first came out, No Man's Sky, I believe on YouTube. I had a bunch of people watching. I was actually kind of hyped about it.
I think this is just dead and done with. Future generations of gamers will associate Concord with failure, with disaster, kind of like what Brink used to be. Anybody remember that dumpster fire? Also, can we talk about...
Brink. Why do you have to bring up Brink? Like, as soon as I heard about that game, I was like, yeah, we're gonna... I even recorded it on my channel, too. It's somewhere out there. But we played that. It was supposed to be, like... I pre-ordered Brink. I did, too. Like, me and some friends were, like super hyped about it and everything. Like, yeah, we're gonna all buy it. We're gonna play. We're gonna record and everything. And then... only I bought it. No one else bought it. And I only recorded it. I don't know if I recorded with anybody else.
How funny it is that Sony decided to launch a live service game like this, which is dependent on a healthy player count to function, and they blocked this game's release from like 180 countries?
What?
What are you doing?
What? What do you mean you what? You blocked this game from other No wonder it did bad.
Sony literally learned nothing from the Helldivers 2 debacle. Like, they looked at that and thought, you know what? We should have just launched the game like that, blocked in all these countries.
What are you doing?
To be fair though, I think those 180 countries are happy they were saved from purchasing Concord, so, you know, count your blessings. It must be pretty clear to the execs at Sony that Concord's chances of revival are basically zero. So by shutting it down, they're able to save money on the cost of running servers, the electricity for the computers in the building. Perhaps they can save some money on their taxes by writing this off as a fucking business loss. They're just getting what they can back. And this is
an ad, so BRB. All right, we're back.
This is not reassuring to any aspiring game developers, I imagine. The people of Firewalk are probably utterly demoralized, and I can sympathize with that, albeit on a smaller scale. You know, it sucks when I put 2 weeks into a video that goes live and it's at the bottom. It's 10 out of 10, doing the worst, it's flopping. But that's only 2 weeks of work for like 1 to 2 people, you know? This was 8 years and 100 developers with the $100 million budget. I cannot even grasp my mind around the stakes and how much I would feel bad about failing on such a spectacular level.
And not to mention, from what I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but there's supposed to be like a tie-in between Prototype and Infamous, but I think that's debunked. So I'm not sure if that's true or not. Allegedly, it would, but I'm not entirely sure of it. So I've heard on this side it was true. I heard on that side it was not. So I'm just gonna put that out there and see if anyone knows about it.
So I really do sympathize with the developers on the ground floor, as can Cliff Bleszinski, who said on Twitter, "Concord, I feel your pain." For those that don't remember, Cliff Bleszinski was the lead designer on the first 3 Gears of War games. He later moved on to create Lawbreakers, another hero shooter that was less dead on arrival than Concord. And that game was shut down just a year after launch. We thought that was a crazy shutdown, 1 year. Concord lasted 11 days. If anyone knows what the Firewalk devs are going through right now, it's Cliff Bleszinski. Now,
wait, isn't Lawbreakers the one that was so fast paced that like not a lot of gamers could actually get into it because it was super fast? Or am I thinking about something else?
The first major reason Concord failed is pretty obvious: bad marketing. I, like most people, saw the trailers for this game and thought, don't care. That's how our brains work, right? You have to implant a strong first impression to be like, what is this? Does it have a release date? When's that? I should put it in my calendar. Yo, homie, have you seen this Concord game? This looks kind of sick. Maybe we should try it out when it comes out. No, there was no word of mouth effect like that at all. I only learned of this game's existence a few weeks ago because I was doing research on upcoming hero shooters for the video I made on why Overwatch 2 was a pointless sequel, in which Concord was just a footnote in that video. Like, hey, maybe Concord is going to be one of those games that gives Overwatch 2 some competition.
You serious?
Really, Act Man? Really? I didn't fucking know anything about it. Okay, cut me some slack. But it's still bizarre that Concord could launch to such low player counts. Like, they had a flashy, big budget cinematic trailer that like clearly had a lot of effort put into it. It was being promoted on PlayStation's Showcase. They had plans for an animated spin-off series. They had written up a ton of lore and backstory.
What was that?
They had plans for an animated
Concord Secret Level episode is still scheduled to release despite the game's shutdown.
Spin-off series. They had written up a ton of lore and backstory on the characters in the universe. They had limited edition controllers tied in with this game, which actually looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. There were months of planned live service updates with weekly story vignettes to keep players coming back. How could so few people have bought or played this or cared about it? Why did it become a ghost town?
660 people.
I'm like, I think it's it's the fact that the designs are bad.
Now it's a ghost town.
One Reddit user pointed out that people who pre-ordered got access to the closed beta, and that closed beta peaked at about 1,100 players. The open beta drew in a max of 2,400. The game launched to a player count of less than 700, an indication that about half of the players who pre-ordered the game canceled it or got a refund before release. Wild. Meanwhile, Deadlock's hitting like 100K and it hasn't even fucking been announced yet. And I recently watched the cinematic reveal, and you know when you watch something and you're like, I don't feel anything? That's kind of what like a sociopath probably feels like. I just feel empty inside watching this. It comes across like a intergalactic co-op heist game, which could have been really cool. That's a cool concept. I mean, this big tower in the circling city, that's...
Well, if it's an intergalactic game or whatever they said, like Thief, why won't they make it into something besides a world shoot, like an open shooter thing? Unless they're planning on doing some sort of like single player missions somewhere in the future, which honestly I probably doubt it. But I mean, if they did, then congrats. But right now, they release with like a hero shooter. Okay, but where's my heist game? Like that would probably be cooler with these guys. Probably a more fitting designs, but like still though, like I'm already looking at the screenshot, and the yellow guy doesn't even look like the yellow robot doesn't even look like a main hero. It looks like part of the background.
It looks kind of cool, but the way the characters talk is uninteresting, mega cringe. They don't look visually appealing. It's like, oh, get it? This guy likes hot sauce. Isn't that so quirky? Ah, the old shoot the hot sauce bottle at him. A classic trick. I think it's generous to call this a cheap knockoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, you can already play as the real Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel Rivals. Just fucking play that. But you know, the setting was cool and interesting. Maybe we just needed time to get used to it. And then they said Concord would be a 5v5 hero shooter, and I think that's when most people just checked out, because there's a lot of those right now. But even in the gameplay trailers, where the footage has been curated and edited to be the best representation of the game possible, Concord still looked dull, unimaginative. I mean, just look at it. Compare this to the excitement present in the Black Ops 6 trailer. These gameplay showcases could be described as This is a brand new IP. It's a hero shooter, an established, saturated genre. You gotta blow us away with an explosive first impression. The game sounded even less appealing when the developers sat down and explained to us what Concord was. None of it sounded unique.
What? Sat down and explain. This is basically what David Cage did with his game. Oh, what was it? Indigo Prophecy. That's what he did. He went and sat down before the game even started and talk about what this game's about. And with the tutorials and everything, like, it was so out of place. And then when you finally play it, it's like, oh, hey, here's the game. Remember the controls? Like, why don't you implement it before? Like, I don't know. David Cage is a mystery.
All generic statements you could say about any first-person shooter. It's got a strong gameplay foundation, opportunities to outplay your opponent, tight core movement. Does it also have guns? And shooting? I love shooting things. If I'm not shooting, I'm not having fun. So for the people who watched these trailers and were aware of the game's existence, it probably didn't leave a strong impression, especially when it's in a showcase filled with other vastly more interesting games. In this article from The Gamer, there's a paragraph that summarizes people's sentiments perfectly. I'd never heard of Concord before the showcase, or if I had, what I'd heard or seen hadn't been memorable enough to stick in my memory. I didn't realize right off the bat that it was part of PlayStation's slate of live service titles, which set me up for a day-ruining disappointment. Damn! First impressions matter a lot, especially with new IPs, because they don't have that emotional equity with an audience to automatically grab their attention, and it didn't do a good job of grabbing people's attention. The second reason Concord failed, they missed the bus. It's gone, okay? And now the game is stuck at rock bottom. Even if this came out before Overwatch, it would have felt immediately outdated after Overwatch came out.
Yep. And then other people started copying it, and then Sony, with their, lateness, can't put this out. And even worse, what he said before, it seems like they were Guardians of the Galaxy's, like, not even the heroes, just the side characters, not even its background characters. So they were definitely wrong.
Overwatch 1, yes. If you're gonna show up 8 years late to the party, you better bring some goddamn good chips and a keg of beer. Where's the beer? It's not just that the hero shooter genre is oversaturated, it's that Concord did nothing to differentiate itself from its competitors. As if nowhere along this 8 stretch of development, they thought, hey, maybe we should change directions and try to innovate and adapt to the changing gaming landscape and what the current expectations are. I mean, you see this innovation in hero shooters like Deadlock, which is arguably more of a MOBA than a hero shooter. The aspects of Dota and League of Legends work to great success in Deadlock. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't play or feel like anything else out there. It's a genuinely innovative title, and it's in alpha, and the art style is still leagues better than this. They haven't even finished the fucking graphics on this game, and it still looks better. Marvel Rivals has the benefit of the Marvel IP and the hundreds of characters they can pull creative inspiration from. NetEase has already worked on Overwatch in the past, so they have experience with that type of game. Apex Legends blends hero shooters with the Battle Royale formula. Valorant mixes hero shooters with Counter-Strike. It's these combinations of different ingredients that makes the beverage taste unique. Concord doesn't have any of that.
I didn't know about any of those games.
There's no X factor, and it's late to a trend we've all been familiar with for the last 8 years. The third reason, and let's play a game. One of these is not like the other. Can you help me figure out which one?
Valorant? No. Rivals? I never heard of Rivals. Oh wait, no, Marvel Rivals. Never mind, I have. Deadlock looks pretty good. Apex Legends is Battle Royale, right? But no, they're hero, like all of them are hero shows. So,
Is it this one? No.
Are we gonna go through the list?
What about this one? Oh, I see. It's Concord with a $40 price tag when every other competitor is free to play.
Wait, what? Okay, so it's... Okay. It's Concord because it's dead. Well, I mean... Listen. Yes, Hook, the rest are free to play. I didn't know that. I honestly, I didn't know they were all free to play. Except for Concord.
Gee, who could have seen this one coming? That this was a bad decision.
I thought they were talking about like gameplay wise.
At a time where inflation is also especially high in the US, gamers have to be wise with what they spend their money on, and they're likely to be even more conservative with their money because of games like Concord that turn into total duds. I don't know what to say. This is just a complete miscalculation. This is 2014 Seahawks at the Super Bowl throwing it when they're on the 2-yard line instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch. It's just a complete disaster of a calculation. The main appeal of live service games is that most of the times they're free. You might deal with some jank and bullshit, but the game's free, and if you want to support it with microtransactions, you can. So the barrier to entry is torn down and the business model is mostly geared towards cosmetics. That's the trade-off. But trying to do both is really difficult if the game isn't good enough. It's like trying to milk 2 cows at once. Asking for $40 up front is like forcing your guests in Roller Coaster Tycoon to pay to use the bathroom. It's like, no thanks,
Don't you do that?
I'll just shit my pants. Thank you. However, games that manage to blend an upfront cost with a live service model can sell well. Helldivers 2 is a prime example, but they also really didn't go too hard on the monetization. It's also been fumbling on the live service front, and that's kind of sad, but Arrowhead more than made their money back and then some. But Helldivers 2 also offered players something they had never seen or played before. It had style, grace. Concord has a funny face. Speaking of, the fourth reason the game failed, to put it nicely, it's visually unappealing. That's the nicest way to describe it. Not just the character designs, but the UI, the weapons, the maps, everything. It's generic, it's ugly. Visually, everything has a great amount of detail and high graphical fidelity, but it lacks style, it lacks charm. It means Concord only looks like lots of money was invested into it, but not much creativity. This is a hero shooter. The heroes are the selling point. This game has to have character. If I don't like the look, feel, or sound of these characters, then there's no reason for anybody to play it. So let's look at the roster, shall we?
Okay.
Teo. He looks like he's geared up to play laser tag.
He looks like he looks like you're like a Starfield character, like the type that you would either see in the background or maybe a follower. Like he's either one of the guards or that's what he looks like. He looks like a guard in the Starfield game.
I'm really not sure what's up with the asymmetric like one blue eye thing. I'm guessing this is like the Soldier 76 of Concord. Hamar looks like she got her outfit at Value Village. Like
whatever this person is. I know he said it, but I forgot. I mean, it's okay. But like what, like crossbow and everything?
Concord. Hamar looks like
honestly, she looks okay. Like maybe put more stuff around the shirt. You know, like more style instead of like having it blank. It's like honestly with the little balls around her, like the little veins around her waist. Like it looks good for what it is. Just it needs more stuff on the clothes.
she got her outfit at Value Village. Like, she went to a thrift store. Out of all the ways you can cast fire in video games, why tiny little balls? Star Child is—
Oh my god! What's wrong with your face?
Exactly.
What the fuck is this?
Like, what am I... He looks like a background character. Like, no one cares about what he looks like. So they just created a background character for Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's him. Like, you see him, like, he's in the background, he's getting motivated by, you know, a speech Thor did. And then he's like, yeah! And that's it. That's the entire thing. It's just him in the background.
This supposed to be? The bright blue skin tone? This looks like my fucking custom Oblivion character that I'm trying to make as ugly as humanly possible. Oh my sweet lord.
It looks like a freaking Grenier from Warframe, except like they didn't want like the design, so they decided like no. Except the Grenier are a lot more better. Like they look good. But this one looks like a Grenier design that like they said, no, we're not gonna take.
This lady looks like if Warhammer 40k created a kids show to teach infants how to count. She looks like she would be the main character. She would be
yeah, with the little flag on top and everything. Like, what is her background supposed to be? Like, is the flag supposed to be like a whole wind direction? Because if so, like, cool. But like, I feel like with heavy armor and stuff, like that's like a bad way. Because if the flag is for wind direction, shouldn't she like be a sniper? Like it would make the most sense instead of someone heavy. But if the flag's just for, show, then sure. I mean, cosmetic, as in, like, it's not even, like, there's no importance. If it was a sniper, then, yeah, it would make sense, because, wind direction and all that, but it's, like, this one's not it. This one's not it.
Steve of Blue's Clues. Her design looks like a 6-year-old's interpretation of the Fallout power armor. Like, impressive for a 6-year-old. For $100 million? No siree. Ladies and gentlemen, it's right there. The red flag. I mean, it's in plain.
And what's with the lipstick, too? Like, it does not do well with... It clashes... Like, so many bright colors are clashing against each other. Like, with the bright pink tape on it, the blue lipstick. Like, I know you're trying to make it pop out, but, like, this is not it. I don't even know what they're trying to do.
Plain sight, they warned us. They tried to stop us from purchasing this game. They literally put a red flag on the character design. There's just nothing visually appealing about any of these characters. If you look at them, they're just all horrendously ugly, or they have like such contrasting color schemes, or like this guy Jabali. Like isn't that a fucking stupid name? Jabali?
Jabali?
Look at him. He's got like a cowboy hat, Mad Max goggles,
I mean, he's okay. I mean, probably the hat would be... I'd probably give him a different type of hat, honestly. And probably give him darker clothes. It would work.
Fucking portable CD player attached to his chest, and a turquoise, what the fuck is this character design? Even the robot, dude.
Oh, I didn't see the head on top. Okay. But yeah, this is kind of bad. If I want my robot to be, look good, I don't want them to look like I just got them from like a dollar store for, for like, oh, this is an action figure, and it just moves like very specifically, and if you move it too far, then it'll break its arm off without even trying.
He's literally called a trash dispenser.
Also, I just realized, him. Why are they giving those types of on the thing? Shouldn't that be in the about me section? Like, I feel like that's just a space that's made for something else if you're going to pick a character. Like, you would want to go to their bio first. And yeah, you can put that there, but anywhere else, like on the, scene, like, oh, this is the person you want to get, or this is the person, like, no.
He's a fucking trash can. I bet Claptrap could beat the shit out of this guy. This is the fucking prototype for IG-88. This is IG-88's fat brother. This motherfucker looks like the Tiger brand rice cooker, man. Is there even one character that doesn't look like dog shit?
Come on, let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, while recording this video about why Concord failed, the Act Man tragically died from cringe. Did you know that over 700 people a year die from cringe? It's not a whole lot, but it is more than the peak concurrent player count of Concord. Usually it's self-inflicted deaths caused by one's own existence, but in this case, oh, he's alive. So there's nothing about these heroes that looks cool.
What the frick are these characters? What the heck? Well, which one pops up more? Like, which one do I like based off of just these cards alone? Probably Roka, honestly. Roka looks okay. Everyone else just does not look great. I would burn the deck of cards. Or deck of characters, yeah. But this is like, if I had to choose, then like Roka, sure. But like, it's pushing it because like, it doesn't look that great. And I don't know what's with the visor, like the red visor. Maybe Vale? I don't know what's going on with Lark. And Kips? That's a god-awful design.
Cool. I'm confused by the art style. The color scheme is off-putting, and I don't know what the fuck any of these people, or if they're even people, are supposed to be. Compare this to any character in Overwatch and it's no contest. And that's the thing, as crazy as this sounds, people want to look cool in video games. This shit ain't cool. This is lame. Either make it cool or make it sexy. It's not hard. I don't think tits could have saved this game though, fellas. The design of Concord's characters aren't just ugly.
Oh, it's a robot. Wait a minute, hold on, let me back up.
Could have saved this game though, fellas. The design of
Oh, I see. It's still ugly looking.
Concord's
Why is
characters
it all
aren't
pink?
just ugly. They tell you nothing about the character.
Like,
Fellas. The design of
like, why is it pink? I don't see any. Well, I mean, there are warm colors, but like, there's too much pink on it.
Concord's characters aren't just ugly. They tell you nothing about the character themselves. Let's pretend none of you have ever played Team Fortress 2. And I'm pitching the game to you, and I tell you, it's a hero shooter or class-based shooter. I want you to tell me what you think this guy does.
Let's see. He's wearing a suit. He has a mask on. He might be a burglar. You know, from Payday. Well, let's pretend we don't know about any video games and just show like a random character. He could be like interrogator. You know, one of those fancy men, or maybe an FBI agent. Am I getting close? Covert operative? Or maybe bank heister.
Kind of looks like he doesn't want his face to be seen. You know, maybe he's a stealthy kind of guy. What about him? Big machine gun?
Minigun, big dude. I think he's like a frontline type of guy. You know, shoots minigun, lots of bullets. You know, the main dude has a bulletproof vest on, so you know that he means business. But like everywhere else, like not really, but like it seems like cartoonishly cartoon style, you know.
He's got a bigger frame than the other guys. Bald, probably a tough dude, can dish out a lot of damage, can take a lot of damage, but can't move fast. You see how easy it is to like differentiate between good and bad art styles? What do you think the fucking rice cooker guy does? Did you guess that he's a robot that shoots fucking vacuum cleaners? The point is, Concord isn't interesting to look at. I don't want to look at it. So between the unappealing visual design, the $40 price tag, the generic nature
Vacuum
of the
cleaner.
gameplay, it's no wonder why Concord failed to capture a meaningful audience. But what is perplexing is how this was okayed by anybody. This is like Sony's Redfall. And right now, Sony is in dire straits. In 2022, they announced they had 10 live service games in production, and 6 of them would be released by March 2026. Layoffs have hit Sony developers, changing priorities for some of these live service titles. Others have been outright canceled, and some have become flops like Concord. This is representative of a wild overreach, an overexpansion and overinvestment into something Sony doesn't know how to market or create. They're just throwing money away in the trash can and lighting it all on fire. It has to stop. It's easy to point and laugh at the ridiculous character designs, but truly, it's tragic that so much money and time and effort has gone to waste in such spectacular fashion. Actually, fashion isn't even a word you can use when describing this game. I sure am glad they didn't use, $10 million, $20 million to make a new Jak and Daxter. Really glad we didn't get that instead.
A remake even.
And we've already seen the industry hit with tens of thousands of layoffs, and critical flops like Concord will do nothing but contribute to this declining health of the video game industry and the hobby we all care about. Something needs to change, and it needs to change now. But these are the reasons why Concord has failed and why Sony is shutting it down just 2 weeks after launch. But what do you think? Which of these characters would you bang? None of them? Me too. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it.
Well, thank you, Ackman. This was very informative.